The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy. Tank Spencer here, Jeremy Greene alongside as always in the Wicked Weed studio. WickedWeedBrewing.com. Drink different. It's a Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's power ranking time in the NFL. Week 10 power rankings, 32-1. We'll have a new one this week, or there better be. Jeremy still hasn't shown me the official list of the power rankings yet. So, it's, look, there's a new number one on my list, and there better be one on the main list as well.
There is. There's a new one on the main list.
Good. I mean, after the topsy-turvy week that we had, upsets galore. What's going on with the Cincinnati Bengals, the Las Vegas Raiders, the Buffalo Bills losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Dallas Cowboys falling to the Broncos? It was just absolute madness this past week.
Madness, I tell you.
Welcome everybody into the program here, and joining us in the chat. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Join the House of Reprehensibles if you haven't already. We appreciate everybody for that. Don't forget you can enter your super chats as well. Super chats being placed on the screen each and every day. So we will highlight all of those. And yes, Kevin Vick, you are right. Yes, eat the boo hole and you're finished is the best thing that has ever been said on this show.
It was so not good. It was so not good.
If you missed the last call yesterday, you missed out. Jeremy had to eat a crawfish.
And it was disgusting.
And I tried to tell you. Not to eat that part. But, you didn't listen to me.
Yeah.
But I did the right thing, and I polished off the crawfish, which was the only, I mean, you can't let good crawfish go to waste.
Well, and we got to give, credit to, Crab du Jour?
Crab du Jour.
I mean, they do fantastic food. Mm-hmm. I just am repulsed by having to do a shellfish autopsy.
I have never seen anybody so upset about baby lobsters.
Well, those are not baby lobsters.
Yes, they are.
That's like looking at a Mercedes and a Kia going, hey, that's the same thing. They're the same thing. Good for you.
They are the same thing, just in a smaller version.
No,
All right. Let's get into it here. The NFL Power Rankings for Week 10. Starting at the bottom.
Started at the bottom.
They're
now we're
all
here.
awful. They're all
we are
awful.
not going to spend 45 minutes on the bottom 10 this week.
No.
This will be 5 minutes and we'll be done.
No, yeah, the Houston Texans. Oh, man, you still got the Detroit Lions down there.
Because
Come on.
they're the worst team in the NFL.
Come on. They're not.
They are, though. You're saying are wrong.
They don't have any wins yet this year. They may not get a win at all this year, but I still don't think they're as bad as the Miami Dolphins and the Houston Texans.
Well, here's the thing. They are bad, bad.
So you got Detroit at 32, Houston 31, the Jacksonville Jaguars at 30. I gave Jacksonville a little bit of a bump for beating the Buffalo Bills this past week.
And here would be my question. Why?
Because they beat the best team in the AFC.
Yeah, hot. And that's all I got. And that's all I got to say about that.
New York Jets at number 29. Miami Dolphins 28. Washington football team at 27. You got the Falcons and the Panthers in there. The Falcons are one of the weirdest teams. They are in the playoffs right now. If the world exploded and they said, "Oh, we got to get the playoffs in right now," the Atlanta Falcons would be what, the 7 seed?
They would,
in the
and
NFC?
they shouldn't be.
That's crazy.
Here's the thing: the defense is just so bad. Armchair commentary said it in the comments. They're just, the defense is so unbelievably, dreadfully bad. Mm-hmm. But Cordero Patterson is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I have to say this solely because I got asked this about 8 times before the show. Do not, under any circumstances, trade for Dalvin Cook right now.
No.
Do not. I see every owner of Dalvin Cook trying to parlay him into anything. I got offered Dalvin Cook for Cordero Patterson at 5 o'clock this morning. I woke up and went, well, that doesn't make any sense. So I went to the old Twitter box and I figured it out pretty fast.
And you found the story about Dalvin Cook being accused of of assault and battery.
And before you ask, no, we don't know. We have no idea.
Right.
It's a he said, she said. What is going to come of it, I don't know.
No.
But if you make the move, you are asking for trouble because it could be a no good, very bad thing.
It could very well be. So you got the Atlanta Falcons and the Carolina Panthers there, right there together, and I think that's where you have to have them. They're so equal right now.
Well, I mean, with PJ Walker, that team is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
With PJ Walker, as a matter of fact, I'll be really honest with you. Looking at the rankings, if you tell me PJ Walker is going to play more than 2 games, I would put the Panthers behind the Atlanta Falcons. I would put them behind the Washington football team. I might put them behind the Dolphins and the Jets.
Yeah,
that's how bad this would get.
Yeah, my favorite, my favorite comment about the Sam Darnold injury, by the way. You mean he can't even complete a break of his shoulder?
That's hilarious. It's an incomplete shoulder fracture. Oh, so you mean he can't even do that, right?
Yeah.
That's about right.
Yeah, he's got the incomplete fracture of the shoulder, and he could be out for a while. And yes, I'm also on that conspiracy theory train of, is it really that bad? Or are they just to the point where Sam needs some time off?
Oh, by the way, I meant to say this before we started the show.
Mm-hmm.
We have officially started the Vegas trip contest. So any shares on Facebook, I see all of the shares. Mm-hmm. So if you share them on Facebook or you see them on Twitter, just make sure you tag one of us, and we will see them. Every time you do that, it's another entry into our contest to come to Vegas with us. I will have a graphic out for that later in the day. But every time you share the videos, whether it's on Twitter, Facebook, I mean, don't put it in a pigeon's mouth, but any way that you share things,
right?
Any person that comes in that you invite and they subscribe to the channel, that is any person that comes in and subscribes, they have to tell us in the comments. That is 5 entries. If they subscribe to the House of Reprehensibles or join the House of Reprehensibles, that is 25 entries for whoever invited them in. This is a way to incentivize all of our wonderful people to incentivize us to all of their friends.
Yep.
We have a lot of heavy hitter individuals watching us right now, so we need to make this as aggressive as humanly possible. Armchair, you're entered a bunch of times currently. Right now, if we were playing a slotted lottery, Armchair would be aggressively in the lead.
Mm-hmm.
He is our Canadian correspondent.
And we love it. And we love him for that. Alex S. says Marcus Mariota to the Panthers. I don't think the Panthers are going to make a move.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, it's Matt Barkley. That's the backup. So, but you can't make trades. The trade deadline has passed. Right. And the Raiders are not going to let go of Marcus Mariota.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I mean, you'll have P.J. Walker and Matt Barkley, which should definitively tell Panthers fans, you're not a playoff team.
No, you've cashed out on the season.
I'm also really curious. I did not check this before we started this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious how much that line for this week has moved. Because I'm sure it has. Let me ask you a question. What do you think the debut line of Carolina Panthers at Arizona Cardinals was?
Debut line would be Arizona minus 12?
Too low.
14?
No, wrong, too low.
Oh. 9.
10.5.
Okay.
Sam Darnold comes out that he's not going to play. What happened to the line?
It went down.
It did go down by 0.5 point. If that gets to 9.5, bet your house on it.
Yeah.
And I don't often encourage you to do such nefarious things. This is one of those times. There is not enough. You couldn't put too much on that. Because with P.J. Walker, that will end so badly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, breaking news. Odell Beckham's down to 3 teams.
Down to 3 teams? Cincinnati, the New Orleans Saints, Seattle Seahawks.
Nope.
No, they're not in the last 3.
Nope.
The Green Bay Packers. And
wait a minute. I think I hit the bell too quick. The Packers are 1. The Saints are 1. Yes.
The Falcons.
There's one. The third one is my favorite place he could possibly land.
The New York Giants.
Mm-mm. The Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, my gosh.
He can do what Sammy Watkins did.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, he can do what Sammy Watkins did.
Okay.
That's the dark horse that we've been hearing about, because we've heard about Green Bay, we heard about New Orleans, we heard about Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle never made any sense to me. Oh, he loves Russell Wilson. Cool. He came out and said, if I go to a non-contender, I'm going to cause problems.
Mm-hmm.
Why would Seattle want to do that? Because they're not a contender.
Right.
Kansas City Chiefs makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
The Patriots got mentioned about 9 times in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. If it wasn't for Bill, I would laugh at that. With Bill, I get it, but I don't know why he would want to do it. They're not a contender.
Mm-hmm.
There's not.
Oh, come on! They're starting to catch up on the Buffalo Bills in the division race.
Stop that.
I've heard that
Stop
so
doing
many
that.
times over the last couple of days. It's driving me insane. Ugh. Yeah, so we got the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons. I did the same thing in my power rankings. I've got them right there back to back. I've got them at 25 and 26, and you've got them at 25 and 26. Hey, look at that. I only have the Falcons ahead of the Panthers.
Yeah, I love when a plan comes together. And I'll be honest with you, the Falcons probably should be ahead of the Panthers.
Right.
But I still the Panthers' defense is so markedly better that was the tiebreaker.
I love this. We are in lockstep on the next two as well. The New York Giants at 24 and the Chicago Bears at 23.
Those two teams are the best of the bad.
Yes.
And that's just the way it goes.
Yes.
You're the best of the bad.
Mm-hmm. And then you get into what I saw one breakdown of tiers being described as the muddled middle. This is not the middle to me.
Well, I mean,
the
it is,
22 to 22 to
12.
17. That's not the middle to me.
Yeah, it is. It's actually dead in the middle. And then there's 6 more on the other side that are dead in the middle. 22 is the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
And I got news for you. That's with Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that they came back up is because he came back quicker than I thought he would. I still don't think that team's good.
I don't either.
The ESPN did their power rankings yesterday, and they had a bold prediction for every team. And the bold prediction for the Seattle Seahawks was they're going to finish with 9 wins. No, they're not.
Mm-hmm.
No, they are not.
Even with Russell Wilson back, there's not a path to that?
Don't care. I don't care. That team, as of right now, and I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm trying my damnedest to wear lime green colored glasses.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you're 3-5.
Mm-hmm.
You play at the Packers this week. As
Loss.
long as Aaron Rodgers plays, that's a loss.
Yeah.
Cardinals next week.
Loss.
That's another loss. So you're sitting at 3-7.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go at Washington, 49ers, Texans. You should win 2 of those games. You should win 2 of them.
I'd say 3.
I don't think they're beating San Francisco, but that's just me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you close out with at the Rams, Bears, Lions, Cardinals. I got to 7, and I'm not even sure I feel great about 7.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the other thing. Russell Wilson could shut this down at any point.
He could.
He could shut this down because they're not making the playoffs. First of all, they would damn near have to win out.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a solid 4 games on that schedule. I don't think they could win if the NFL let them play with 14 players.
Yeah, you're not beating Arizona.
Time.
You're not beating the Rams.
In L.A.
Yeah.
And you're not beating the Packers in Green Bay.
Yeah.
That puts you at 8-9 at best. You are not making the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So do not be shocked if at some point Russell just goes, you know what? I'm tired of getting my brains beat out. I won't be shocked. That's not a Russell Wilson thing to do, but neither was the trade request and all the things in the offseason.
Right.
This is a guy that's looking at the second act because he knows it's not in
He
Seattle.
better be.
He knows definitively the second act is not in Seattle.
Agreed. So the Seattle Seahawks are your 22 this week.
My 21 is the Denver Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't think that team's good.
I don't either.
I think they got a 1-week Von Miller bump, and yay, you beat the Cowboys. Good for you. Let's give you an emotional support star.
Right.
And that's it. I still don't look at that team and go, hey, they're good.
Mm-hmm.
They might be the worst 5-win team I've ever seen.
I mean, if you can continue to run the ball like they have been and play good defense, there's something to be said for that. But you're never climbing out of the muddled middle doing that.
Explain to me how they're not the worst team in their own division.
Can't.
There you go. They play the Eagles this week. By the way, that is probably my favorite bet of the week.
Mm-hmm. The ceiling is just so much higher for the Kansas City Chiefs.
By the way, set that line.
For
Philadelphia at the Denver Broncos.
Pick them.
Denver minus 2.5. It's probably my favorite bet of the week, which is shocking. If you had ever told me that Philadelphia playing anything outside of a high school team would be my favorite, I would have said you were out of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
But they are.
Interesting. Denver minus 2. Can Philadelphia continue to run the ball? That's the question.
I think they're going to run it down their throat, personally, but that's just me.
On the Broncos?
Mm-hmm. And I know that's not a bad run defense. I'm well aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
This is a different kind of running attack because you have to deal with Jalen Hurts.
Right.
That comes into linebackers, and they don't have good ones. Matter of fact, I think they're on their 11th, 12th, and 13th linebacker.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, I said the COVID got him.
Oh, no.
Damn it.
Well, T's and P's.
100%.
Yeah.
I was wondering where I hadn't seen him in a few days.
Oh, man.
Many T's and P's to a boy.
Yeah, hopefully it's not serious symptoms. Hopefully you just have the lesser of the symptoms. But definitely, we're with you, brother. Wow.
Yeah, shoot us a message.
We'll be here to keep you entertained while you're locked up in quarantine.
Shoot us a message if there's anything we can do.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we can't do much, but we could theoretically drop ship soup.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that. But then again, we figured out how to get crawfish in November in Asheville, North Carolina. So we're very resourceful around here.
We can figure out how to do shit. That's right. All right. Anyhow.
Armchair Commentary said, are the Eagles going to be chalk this week, or are they a sneaky tourney play? I think they're sneaky as shit because people are going to get duped by what Denver did to the Dallas Cowboys.
A tourney play? What does that mean?
A GPP play on DraftKings.
Oh. Okay. Where are we at? Number 20?
Number 20. The San Francisco 4th and Niners.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly where I have them in my power rankings as well.
I can't figure out what to do with this team because I think I see spurts of good.
I don't think they can figure out what to do at this moment.
I see parts of good, and then I see a lot of bad.
Kyle Shanahan's taken a lot of heat as far as his job and his job performance goes. I think it's a little premature, but I'm also not convinced that there's not something to that. Like at this point, I just feel like he's in a place where he doesn't know what to do. He's got 2 quarterbacks, and he doesn't know which one to play. Do I stick with Jimmy Garoppolo, or is it time to cut bait and start getting Trey Lance those much-needed reps going into the future?
Here's the problem with San Francisco. The defense has been pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in terms of total defense, they're 8th in the NFL, and you're this bad. What does that tell you? It tells you that your offense is horridly inconsistent.
Yeah, and it ain't
like the schedule's doing you a whole lot of favors.
Right.
I mean, yeah, you have a game with the Texans, you have a game with the Falcons, you have a game with the Seahawks, and one with the Jaguars. Other than that, it's the Rams twice, at the Titans, at the Bengals, at the Seahawks, and the Vikings. Mm-hmm. That is pretty gnarly. Patrick Holt asked in the comments, have we heard anything about Fitzmagic? He's having an MRI done this week. We will know. I don't know what day, but he's having an MRI done one day this week, and we should have a definitive timetable after that. Without the MRI, you just don't know how it's healing.
Yeah.
So it tells me that he won't play this week. If everything went spotless on the MRI, you might get him back the next week. But I think you get to a point with Washington where what's the point?
Well, the point is try to be as competitive as you can for the last few weeks of the season.
Very rarely do I actually take the time to go in here and audibly change things, but that's one, and it's going to live forever.
Tank is a DFS noob.
Bingo.
I have no idea what that means. I have no idea what tournament play and all that. I no clue. I've never kept that a secret. That's why I let you handle all the DFS rankings and stuff.
And I'm even going to.
Who would you play on DraftKings this week? I don't know. Lamar Jackson? He's always a good player, right? I don't know. What the hell is that?
That's the aliens. They're coming to get us.
It sounded like somebody came through that door, but the door didn't move.
The aliens are coming to get us.
Right.
Dude. That is the most annoying noise I think I've ever heard in my life.
What? Oh, the The kegerator?
Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's the kegerator
God,
making that whining noise.
God, that's annoying.
San Francisco 49ers. I don't know what the path forward for them should be. I think you should just go ahead and cut. Yeah, I think you should go ahead and cut bait on Jimmy Garoppolo and start playing Trey Lance. Just see what you got. See if you can get some kind of offensive infusion, because what you're currently doing is not working.
No, I mean, and the thing of it is that it's just so inconsistent. Mm-hmm. I mean, just really think about what you've got with San Francisco here. You have an unbelievable set of weapons. The weapons on that team are great. Mm-hmm. I like Eli Mitchell a lot. Mm-hmm. Everybody's opining what that noise is. It's the army of crawfish coming to get Jeremy. I also heard it's the birds. Don't joke about that, okay? Okay? Because it's going to happen. I will just... Oh... Havoc said, judging by the thumbnail, this should be interesting. I think you're going to like where your team is. I try my damnedest to remember what team every one of you root for.
Right.
Havoc, you're going to like where we have your team.
San Francisco's at number 20.
Yeah, I mean, they're so hard to figure out.
Yeah. Now with Kittle back.
I do think with Kittle back and Debo and Ayuk was really good this past week. Mm-hmm. I look at that team and go, the weapons are good enough that you should be better offensively than you are. I have to put that on Garoppolo because I can't put it on anybody else. Mm-hmm. Shanahan's one of the most creative play callers in the NFL. And I think at some point you just have to tap on a season. What are the chances the 49ers are making the playoffs?
Slim.
I would say 5% at best. Tap out on it. Use these last 9 games to get reps for Trey Lance and tell me that you're not in better shape going into next year. Mm-hmm. That is my philosophy on the San Francisco.
However, I mean, the way the way the NFC is right now, I mean, you're one game out. You're one game out of the playoffs at the moment.
Yeah. And
if we can put together a strong run.
Rob Johnson put it nicely. They got smoked by Colt McCoy. Mm-hmm. Just solely because that offense is so much better. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody's stopping Arizona. But you look at San Francisco and just go, there's a lot of losable games here.
Oh, there are.
And I mean, and they won't do anything with Trey Lance until they know they're out.
In 3 weeks, they play the Minnesota Vikings. Is that a game that you would be shocked if they lost?
No.
They lost, by 6 or lost on a last-second field goal or
I wouldn't be
whatever.
shocked in the least.
And looking at that game, you should go, that's definitely a game you should win.
And looking at the future number, Minnesota's going to be favored in that game. Mm-hmm. I'll just go ahead and tell you. Mm-hmm. It should tell you everything you need to know. What is the line on Rams San Francisco? This is why they're such a hard team to deal with. It's the LA Rams at the San Francisco 49ers.
I say Rams minus 3.5.
That's what it started at. It's at 4 right now.
Yeah.
Because you just can't bury them because the good is still good. And
But the defense is so good to keep them competitive. The problem is their offense is just it's disjointed, I guess is the best way I could put it. It's not listless. You have all of these pieces. You just don't have it. You don't have that thing to make it go. And is that thing the quarterback?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the catalyst of the offense. Yeah. Anthony Hurt asked in the comments, what is Jacksonville's pass defense like so far? As long as you don't have Josh Allen on Josh Allen crime, you should be fine. Because that's the only time that pass defense has looked even halfway solvent.
Right.
They gave up 365 yards to Tua Tagovailoa. That should tell you everything you need to know. Mm-hmm. Indianapolis by a bunch.
All right, at number 19 on the power rankings, Kansas City Chiefs.
The Kansas City Chiefs. I can't keep making excuses for them.
Yeah.
At some point, you just have to go, this is who they are. Mm-hmm. Now, we'll say this. And look, I don't have a lot of love for Odell Beckham Jr. If there's a perfect place for him to land, it's right there. Because he can do what Sammy Watkins did, where it's not just every play we're going 30 yards downfield.
Yeah.
So you mix him with Travis Kelce, that all of a sudden could fix a lot of things. But at the end of the day, Eric Bieniemy's got to figure it out. Mm-hmm. Andy Reid's got to figure it out. You've got to be able to figure out how to elevate this offense.
You got to figure out how to run the ball.
They've never really run the ball particularly well.
But they at least had the ability to.
No, they really didn't. They've been dreadful running the ball. For ever. They could run it on the worst teams in the NFL. That's it. That's not the part of the part of this offense is that there's no evolution. So now you can drop 3 deep safeties, and it just completely bogs down the offense. Mm-hmm. You don't have to rush Pat Mahomes. You can throw 4 guys at him, and the line can't hold up. Mm-hmm. And now he's running around for his life. And, I mean, at some point, that has to be a problem. And defensively, I said this on Monday. Jordan Love would not have scored a point on any other defense in the NFL. Not one. There's not another defense in this league he scored on. He scored on that one. Mm-hmm. So, at the end of the day, that is something that it needs to be taken into account.
Yeah, I have them a little higher on my power rankings, but not by much. I have them at 17.
Here would be my all right, so you've got him at 17. You told me this earlier. I have not seen his list. He has not seen mine. Mm-hmm. Who in the hell do I have in front of them that you have them behind?
I have them.
Who do I have them behind that you have them in front of?
I have them in front of the Philadelphia Eagles.
And I don't know that. I mean,
and I have them ahead of the Saints. I have them one spot ahead of the Saints.
And I don't know that that's right.
I mean, I don't know that it's right either, but here's the thing.
Both of those teams are going to more consistently move the ball, and their defenses are exponentially better. I mean, exponentially better.
Are they, though?
100%. The Saints have one of the top 5 best defenses in the league.
No, I'm saying the Saints. Are they going to move the ball better than the Kansas City Chiefs?
They have Alvin Kamara. Mm-hmm. They have Alvin Kamara. At the end of the day, the Kansas City Chiefs do not have anything that is as replicable down in, down out as Alvin Kamara. Mm-hmm. Nothing. And those 2 defenses are just markedly better. I could not personally put either of those teams behind Kansas City because I think if they played right now, and I know they've already played Philadelphia. Yep. I think if they played right now and everything stayed the same, I think Philadelphia would beat them. Mm-hmm. And New Orleans would just run the ball down. Hell, they might run the veer. I mean, my God, New Orleans might throw Taysom Hill out there and run the triple option.
Right, and rely on Marshawn Lattimore to try to shut down Tyreek Hill. And then what do you have?
Thing, I don't really care. Mm-hmm. Tyreek Hill, at the end of the day, he's getting his. Everybody's talking about how, Tyreek Hill's been such a bust. He's been so bad. I took him in the first round. Do you know where he is among receivers in the NFL? He's 5th in receiving yards.
Okay.
He's the number 2 fantasy football receiver in the league. Mm-hmm. He has 68 receptions. The only player with more is Cooper Kupp. Yeah. He's getting his, and it doesn't matter because there's nothing else that scares you. Nothing.
Travis Kelce.
I mean, and Kelsey's been fine. He's got 54. Again, Travis Kelce's getting his. Mm-hmm. Nobody else is. Mm-hmm. You have an offense of 3. Demarcus Robinson does not scare anybody. No. Mecole Hardman sucks, and I'm just glad that everybody's finally catching up to what I said 2 years ago.
He's just super fast.
Yeah, it's the reason you don't sign track stars to play wide receiver because they're not receivers. And Mecole Hardman is not a receiver. And I think they douse the ball. They douse the ball in butter before they throw it at him.
All right, Mecole Hardman is a punt returner in this league who is being made to play wide receiver.
Literally tell me anything you like about the Kansas City Chiefs without saying Pat Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, or Travis Kelce.
Why? When I hear Mecole Hardman's name, why do I think of Jakeem Grant?
I'd rather have Jakeem Grant. And to me, it's not even all that close.
Right.
He's a markedly better return guy. Mm-hmm. Seth Lofton asked how many receptions did Tyreek Hill have against Tennessee? I don't actually remember. It wasn't many because that offense didn't do shit.
Right.
6 for 49. He hasn't had less. He had 3 receptions against the Baltimore Ravens, a game that they narrowly lost. Mm-hmm. He hasn't had less than 9 targets in the last 6 games. He had 18 against the Giants. He had 11 against the Packers. He has 101 targets in 8 games.
Right.
That is insanity. Because that's all they can do.
Mm-hmm. That's all you have. Yeah, like I said, I have them a little bit higher, but only by 2 spots. You have the New Orleans Saints next.
And it's solely because of defense. Mm-hmm. The offense was listless against the Falcons. I did not like the way that Sean Payton used Alvin Kamara. Sean Payton has to – he is too closely abiding to something that I say quite often. You cannot give 25 touches to a running back. Mm-hmm. Well, you can't do that week in, week out. You lost them this game. They lost to the Atlanta Falcons because of Sean Payton. Period. They couldn't stop Alvin Kamara if they had shotguns to take him down.
Right.
I think he was averaging 9 yards per touch. And he had 16 touches. Mm-hmm. That's stupid. And by the way, stop with Trevor Siemian. Go to Taysom Hill. He at least is a threat with his legs. Trevor Siemian is not a threat with anything.
Right.
And I do think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think Trevor Siemian, or Taysom Hill, will start this week.
I think he should. I mean, especially if you're not going to use him. If you're just going to sit him on the bench and not use him.
I think last week was a product of how good Siemian was against Tampa Bay, and it was a mixture of that and the fact Taysom Hill had not taken his normal number of practice snaps, and so you're just integrating him back into the offense.
Meaningful snaps, they matter. He came in and he threw 4 passes?
I think it was 4.
Yeah. But I remember, late in the game, he made 2 pretty good, solid throws. And I think that might be enough to sway Sean Payton to play him routinely.
It was only 2.
Was it only 2? Okay. He didn't get used much, but that's kind of my thing. If you're going to use Trevor Siemian, then you have to use Taysom Hill as well.
And Trevor Siemian was just dreadful. I mean, he was. I don't care about the stat line. Oh, he's 25 of 41, 249 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yay! His QBR was an 18. For posterity's sake, 50 is league average.
Right.
That's how bad Trevor Siemian was. You lost to the Falcons. And by the way, the numbers on Kamara, he had 17 touches, and he had 104 yards on those 17 touches with a touchdown. So he was averaging over, let's say math's fun. He was averaging right at 6 yards per touch. That's pretty good. Oh, but he only averaged 3.8 yards per carry. That's fine. Then throw it to him in the flat. It's not like Atlanta could do anything to stop him, and they have one of the best linebackers in the NFL that would stop him.
Right.
Deion Jones is one of the few players that should be able to stop him from doing that. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But you didn't do it enough. That's the one playmaker you have. Name me the second best playmaker on that team.
Oh, God, it'd be Traquan Smith.
He had 3 catches, 53 yards.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Marquez Callaway because that's the one I would say.
I should have said him.
Yeah, he was 3 for 25. The offense is just listless. But I think with Taysom Hill, it's at least hard to defend. I don't like Taysom Hill as a quarterback. I never have. But I think it's much harder to defend when he's back there just solely because you don't know what he's going to do.
Agreed.
You can run a very Philadelphia Eagle-y looking offense with Taysom Hill.
Right. It's that Jalen Hurts role.
Yeah.
And guess who's at 17?
The Philadelphia Eagles.
Fly,
Eagles, fly. Kelvin Joyner said him to think they still won't call Cam.
They still what?
They still won't call Cam because he's bad. Because he's bad at football. He is not a good NFL football player. I need a button. I need a button. I need a Cam Newton button.
You need a no Cam Newton button?
I'm going to make one of those.
Why don't you just make the recharge your brain batteries? The Cam
because
Newton
I
button.
understand why people are saying it. I get it. If you're still locked into 2015 Cam Newton, of which we have to remember, we live in a Panthers market. So we got to see him up close and personal for much longer than other people did.
Right.
There's a reason nobody's calling him.
Right. We've seen how good he can be.
We've seen how bad he can. You said bad wrong. I've never heard bad.
But that's where everybody's brain goes, is we've seen how good he can be. We've seen him be multiple and run the ball and pass the ball and all the things. Yeah, that was 6 years ago. Let it go.
He's not good.
No.
And he's a malcontent that doesn't want to be a backup.
Well, he wouldn't be a backup.
Rob Johnson.
Not in New Orleans.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, he would. That's one of the most complex offenses in the NFL. There's a reason they kept three quarterbacks, and it's because nobody. And I've heard the Phillip Rivers thing, and Phillip Rivers is a football savant. I don't think he could learn that offense between now and the end of the year.
Really?
That is how complex I've been told that offense is. And it makes sense because there's a lot of options and multiplicities and things like that just there's a lot of intricacies to that offense. And there is something to be said that Drew Brees is one of the smartest quarterbacks that ever played in the NFL. And he's the one that made it look swimming.
Right.
Every other quarterback that's played in that offense has struggled with it. That should tell you something.
I would still think a guy like Phillip Rivers could be able to figure it out.
Phillip Rivers, based off the last thing I saw, Rob Johnson said this in the comments, it looks like he learned apparently food is good. Wherever, as I think he's in Alabama, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently food in Alabama is very good.
I was going to say, he's a high school football coach. Of course he's been eating fast food every night.
Because he looked a little pudgy.
Right. I mean, that's what high school coaches do, isn't it?
I can say that because I'm for some reason losing weight.
Like you just grab fast food whenever you can when you're on that coaching schedule,
i.e., our diet.
Yeah, pretty much.
Jason Trump said, so what you just said is Cam couldn't learn any of it. I'm not saying that. I'm saying they'd have to dumb down the offense.
Mm-hmm.
Not because he's dumb, but because if they have to do that with any quarterback. I'll say the same thing about Phillip Rivers. The problem is that why would you want Cam Newton, who's a slower version of Taysom Hill? That's all he is at this point. Oh, he can run over people. So can Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
Strength for strength, I'd say Taysom Hill's actually stronger at this point. Taysom Hill is a genetic freak. What the fuck was that?
That was me thinking about crawfish.
Yeah. Did you just defecate on camera?
No, that was my stomach.
Oh, yeah.
I skipped breakfast this morning.
I was about to be like, look here, motherfucker. You just closed us in an airtight room.
No, that was the little alien in my stomach that's hungry. He's like, I need food.
I just heard a little I didn't like that in the least.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're stuck. You're stuck at this point if you need a quarterback. It's like Carolina Panthers, same thing.
Yeah,
you're
Carolina,
stuck. You can't bring in a starter at this point.
Well, and Carolina's offense is not overly intricate. That's one of the beauties of Joe Brady.
Mm-hmm.
The offense is not super intricate. But at the end of the day, who are you going to bring in? I mean, you brought in Matt Barkley. That's the best you're going to do.
Because you need a backup. At this point, you can't. There's not a starter out there that wouldn't completely throw your team into chaos. If everybody's on board with the offensive plan, changing the plan now, especially if you're not a contending team. See, that's where I'm at with New Orleans. Is like you actually are kind of a contender.
Kelvin Joyner said, "In case of emergency, break glass for McRib." That is a brilliant idea. Just have a little McRib in a glass case. The only problem is we'd have to get one to replace it like every single day.
Yeah, I was going to say, you break that glass, you're going to have to pay for it.
The glass or the McRib?
The glass.
No, I got a glass guy.
I got a glass guy.
I got a
glass guy. Interesting. You have a guy for everything, don't you?
Not for everything. Mostly things that I can bet on.
All right, so that does the bottom half of the league with the Philadelphia Eagles sitting there at number 17. Can they continue to run the ball the way they've been doing? I mean, can this whole Boston Scott, Kenny Gainwell, Miles Sanders, Jordan Howard thing, and Jalen Hurts as well? You're going to have 5 guys that can run the ball.
Well, it's just comical to me because they've done that for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Who did you do it against?
The Detroit Lions and the Los Angeles Chargers.
That is the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's play a fun game. How many teams in the NFL are worse defending the run than the 2 teams you just said?
2.
The Chargers, there are 0.
Okay.
They are dead mother effing last by 22 yards a game.
Yikes.
The Texans and the Vikings are the only 2 worse than the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
Where do the Denver Broncos fall on that? Oh, they're 6th best in the league. By the way, that's not why I think Philadelphia's going to beat them. I think Philadelphia's going to beat them because I don't think Teddy Bridgewater could score on them.
Right. At number 16. Dun, dun, dun.
Buttons.
Who is the bottom of the top half of the league?
The New England Patriots.
The New England Patriots.
I
Looky
never
there.
thought they were going to get to the left side of the screen, but that is how bad the right side of the screen is.
Mm-hmm.
New England is, and you know what? As I was setting the rankings up, usually I go bottom to top. This week, I started in the dead center because there were 4 teams that I said, what is an average NFL team look like? The Cleveland Browns, the New England Patriots, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the New Orleans Saints.
Mm-hmm.
So I literally built from the middle out.
Okay.
That's how Kansas City wound up at 19, by the way. Because I think all 4 of those teams would beat Kansas City right now if nothing changed.
New England, Philadelphia, New Orleans, and Cleveland?
Mm-hmm. And that's how I went out. That's how Indianapolis wound up at 14. Because I think Indianapolis would beat all 4 of those teams.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Started from the middle, now we're here.
New England's 5-4. They've got all the Patriot fans are just, we're a playoff contender. Yeah, you are. You are a playoff contender. You have to admit they are a playoff contender.
You play the Browns this week. That's not going to go well for you. You play the Falcons the next week on short rest in Atlanta.
Which is, I mean,
it's
a game you're going to win.
A game you're going to win or a game you can win?
A game you can win.
That is a game you can win.
Yeah.
Yes. Then you play the Titans. That's not a game you can win. At the Bills, that's not a game you can win. At the Colts, I don't like your shots of winning that one.
After a bye week,
Bills,
though?
don't care. I don't care. You're on the road. I'm just here's what I'm learning. This is one of those years that you just never lay points to road dogs. Ever. I don't give a fuck who it is. That's how the Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Buffalo Bills.
Right.
I am changing my mantra on how I wager after a deplorable week.
If the mark is 9, if that's your mark of making the playoffs in the AFC.
But it's not. It's not.
Okay.
You have 9 teams that have 5 wins. You are going to have to get to 10. Period.
Okay.
There is no way that there will be 3 teams that don't win divisions that don't win 10 games.
Right.
So here's the path to getting there. You have to beat at least one of the teams I'm getting ready to say. You have to beat the Browns. You have to win. You have to beat the Titans at the Bills or against the Bills at home.
Yeah, you got to win one of those.
Or the Colts. You have to win 2 of those. You're not gonna. Yeah, you got the Falcons. All right, let's chalk up the Falcons.
Yep.
I'll give you that one. I'll give you the Jaguars, and I'll give you the Dolphins. That puts you at 8. You're at 8-9. You're going to have to get to 10, and you're going to have to win tiebreakers. And I don't love the chances of you doing that.
Right.
So, yeah, to me, this is going to be one of the best teams that misses the playoffs. And I think they're going to get unveiled pretty quickly.
Okay. We shall see. I mean, they could sneak up and win one of those games. You know, New England is a tough place to play when the weather turns cold.
It is, but Buffalo's already had their yip game.
This is true.
And they're nowhere near Buffalo.
Yeah, that's the bad thing is that they're going to get all these other teams too soon before it gets super cold.
Yeah.
And you can use the weather as an advantage for yourselves. I mean, they're right on the outside of the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what you are. You're a middle of the NFL team.
Right.
I think if you say anything nicer than that, you're being disingenuous. You were telling me about a list this morning that had New England at 10. Well, that person's a fucking moron.
Ridiculous.
And that's the nicest way I can put that. Because
But there's a lot of that going on.
But what that tells me is just look at the rankings. That means you're telling me with a straight face that you think the New England Patriots are better than any of the 5 teams in front of them right there. And that is dumb.
I don't. This is exactly where I have them in my power rankings.
And, I mean,
as
to
well.
have them in front of any of those is comical to me. Oh, you think they're going to shoot out with the Bengals? I get Joe Burrow and you get friggin' Mac Jones?
Right.
Okay, I like my side of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to throw shade. I'm just being honest. That's where you're at. You are the league definition of average.
Okay. Armchair says they would prefer to lose more games as Patriots fans.
You should.
Okay.
You should. You're not there yet. You need another year, and you're tapped financially.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those money deals are starting to look, really, really good. Jonnu Smith, that's working out nicely.
Right.
Nelson Aguilar.
I have yet to see a post from a Patriots fan that says, yes, let's lose some more games.
That's because
all I have seen is, we're coming for the Buffalo Bills.
That's why we love Armchair, because he's the only rational New England Patriots fan I've ever met in my life.
And I absolutely give you credit for that. Because you should be internalizing right now and going, what would be the best for our franchise? Better draft position. Absolutely. At number 15?
The Cleveland Browns.
Mm-hmm. Cleveland's a team that's just so maddening to me. They get the Odell Beckham bump this past week, beat the hell out of the Cincinnati Bengals. Was that all just emotion? Was that all just narrative? Or can they continue this? They're going to be in a tough spot if they can't get their running backs back for the next game. Nick Chubb's tested positive. Hopefully he can put together some negative tests here and be activated so they don't have to, go into the game without him. Dearness Johnson filled in fine when Chubb was out a couple of weeks ago. But the question to me is, when does this offense, or does it ever start to click better?
With Cleveland?
Right.
I mean, here's the thing. You're going to be this inconsistent team because you're counting on a Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. This game this weekend between them and the New England Patriots is a suck bowl to me.
Mm-hmm.
It is a mediocre. Hey, I'll call it what it is. It's a playoff elimination game. Team that loses this game is going to struggle like a motherfucker to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Because you remember all those things I just said about the Patriots?
I was going to say, have you looked at that schedule?
Yeah, here's who the Browns still have to play. They have to play the Ravens in back-to-back games, the Raiders at the Packers and at the Steelers.
Mm-hmm. And then they get Cincinnati at home.
There are a lot of losses in that.
Yep.
So, to me, this is a playoff elimination game. With no Nick Chubb, I give New England a markedly better chance to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
With Nick Chubb, I don't see a snowball's chance in hell you're going to win this.
Right. I just don't know. I really don't know what they are right now.
Why? What are you questioning with?
I'm questioning
Cleveland?
how good they can be. I'm questioning how high can this team go? Can they pull off more? I mean, did you not see this Cincinnati win as an upset?
No, it's hard to call it an upset when I told you it was going to happen exactly how it did. Now, did I think they were going to blow them out?
It didn't happen exactly how you thought it was.
It happened exactly how I told you it would. Odell Beckham is no longer there, and the offense gets a shot right in its boo hole.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what I said, which is exactly what happened. Now, do I think that's going to last beyond 1 week? No. Could I easily see them going into Foxborough and getting their just absolute brains beat in?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could. Well, here's what they are. Cleveland, to me, is a very easy team to understand. They're a team with a mediocre quarterback, a good running game, and a good defense. You know what that beats? Bad teams.
Mm-hmm.
It will keep you in contention with the mediocre teams. And then you play good teams and get your brains beat out.
Right.
That's it. I mean, the Cleveland Browns are a typewriter to me. Yeah, this would have been the best team in the NFL in 1986. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it is 2021.
All right. Ahead of the Cleveland Browns at number 14.
The Indianapolis Colts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is a team that gets a little more confusing to me. This is one that I cannot wrap my head around fully. Because they just seem to be very Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Mm-hmm.
The good is good. The bad is not great. And they cannot close out games to save their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Frank Reich, for the love of all that's good and holy, run the damn ball! With the Jets, that game should never have been close. You beat us by 4 scores. Mm-hmm. We had a chance to get within a possession with 1:50 to go.
Mm-hmm.
And you know why? Because you can't figure out that you need to stop throwing the damn ball.
Yeah.
When you're up 4 scores, it's Jonathan Taylor time. Oh, and well, at least the Jets were slowing him down.
Oh, were they?
Oh, I was being facetious. He had 1.5 billion yards. Seth Lofton said Frank Reich is an extremely overrated coach. I'm starting to agree with you. I really liked Frank Reich.
Mm-hmm.
And Stephen Tao says not Reich, it's Wentz. Then you need to take the control away from him. Seth Lofton said, talking about the GM, it's Chris Ballard.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Ballard has drafted really well.
So you take the control away from who?
Carson Wentz.
From Carson Wentz?
If he's the one doing this, then you take the control away from him. Because you've already cost yourself one game, because there was absolutely no reason for you to lose to the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
You made the Jets game way closer than it should have been. I would argue you cost yourself the Titans game because you let them get back into it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they were into it, but you should have won that game at home. And you didn't. Why? I tie that all back to play calling. They are the only team in the NFL that I have said that about every single freaking week. His game management, just like Havoc just said, the game management is average at best, and it is highly questionable.
Yeah, and the question they have to ask themselves is, are we contenders? Do we want to make the playoffs? If we don't want to make the playoffs, then it's time to sit Carson Wentz.
Stephen Tao said, and give it to who? Talking about the control that you have with Carson Wentz. To Frank fucking Reich. If Carson Wentz is so stupid that he can't understand that when you're up by 3 scores, run the damn ball, then this is my call now. In 4-minute offense, I make the calls. You do it the rest of the time. But when we get into the 4-minute offense, these are my calls. You do not have the ability to check off. So you do it with rookies all the time. If this is Carson Wentz, then you don't need. Then you do not deserve this autonomy. Because this is like junior high school shit, and I've seen it multiple times. This is a team that is way better than their record, and I could argue just looking at the schedule, the first 3 losses, you got beat. I could argue the Ravens and the Titans loss were both on whoever's making these 4-minute offense calls. Whether it's Frank Reich or Carson Wentz, I don't care. How much differently do you look at this team at 6-3 than you do at 4-5?
Well, markedly different.
Oh, and Steven said, I'm talking about, no, Wentz is the quarterback. I have no problem with that. Wentz has been reasonably good. He's made a couple boneheaded decisions. And if he's the one that's making these 4-minute offense calls, take it away from him, period. Yeah, now they're my calls. I call one play. This is like I'm calling to a rookie.
Right.
Justin Fields does not have the autonomy to check off. He gets 2 play calls. Lefty, righty. You can do that. You can't do shit else.
Right.
That's what I'll do with Carson Wentz.
Okay. I mean, they have 4 wins left on that schedule that are just games you probably should win. And then the rest of it is Buffalo, Tampa Bay, Arizona, Vegas. And I don't like you in any of those games.
I said long ago the Indianapolis Colts will be a markedly better team than their record says they were by the end of the year. And I've seen nothing that's changed my mind on that.
Right.
You're going to be a better team than you end up.
So at this point, it's time to manage. It's time to manage the future and not give up that pick.
Well, it's not that.
To do that, you got to give
make the playoffs. This team can still make the playoffs.
I don't see how.
They very easily could have beaten the Rams. Very easily. Their good is very, very good. There's not a game on that schedule that they cannot win. Now, will they be favored in it? Not necessarily, but that's not tap-out time. They're not to tap-out time yet. Now, you catch an L against the Jaguars or the Texans or somebody like that, sure. But so far, they have freight-trained those teams when they played them. They have beaten the sin out of bad teams. So you need to catch a couple wins against teams that are as good as you or better than you. And you're right there in playoff competition.
Can Buffalo be gotten again?
Not at home. Not in Buffalo. Yeah, they could catch you at Indianapolis.
Could they get Tampa Bay?
They could get the Bucs at home. They could get the Patriots at home. They could get the Raiders at home. You probably need to win 2 of those. And they can. They easily could win 2 of those games. So, no, it's not. You're not to the manage the future point. They're 1 game out of the playoffs right now.
Yeah, but they have 9 5-win teams in front of them.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah, and half of those teams are going to lose this week.
So you got to get to 10. You've already said the threshold is 10. So that means you got to get 6 of these last games.
Well, you're going to beat the Jaguars, you're going to beat the Texans, and you're going to beat the Jaguars again. So now you're at 7. You have to get 3 wins in those other games. There are 3 winnable games on that schedule.
Okay.
Just say it's disingenuous. Oh, there's 9 5-win teams in front of them. Yeah, they're a game behind them. And 99% of those teams play each other. So, I mean, being a game out behind that just doesn't matter that much.
Right.
You're striving to get to 10 wins because I will be honest with you, and we should probably do this, a projection we should do a video, a projection of the rest of the year, of how we see the rest of the year playing out. In the comments, if anybody would want to watch that, let us know.
Okay.
If you do, we'll totally do it. We did a prognostication of what we thought the season would look like before the year.
We did.
And now we're at the midway point. We could do it again.
We should probably do that, yeah.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, it's not a horrible idea.
Got enough people to watch it. So if you'd watch it, throw a thumbs up.
Well, we had planned to do a mid-season review anyway.
Yeah.
So instead of doing that, maybe we should just do a mid-season projection for the rest of the year.
Do 5 minutes on each team?
Yeah.
It would be pretty long. I mean, that'd be like
I think we should just do the contenders, honestly.
Or we could do that tomorrow. Live.
Instead of Threadbare Thursday? I love Threadbare Thursday.
Yeah, but we could do that. We could do an after show after the ESPN show.
Okay.
We're sounding these things out on the fly, so if you have an opinion, chuck those out there.
Joyner, Evan Doyle, they both say, yeah, absolutely, go for it. So, yeah. And we know Aboye's not doing anything, so he'd be in as well.
He said, Aboye just said we just moved across the border to Indiana, and all my neighbors are Colts fans. Shit sucks.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we moved, and all the people around us are not Panthers fans. They're Patriots fans.
Yeah. All right, so that's what we're going to do. We've got enough people now. The House of Reprehensibles has spoken.
It is decided.
Yes. All right, so we will do that tomorrow.
We will do that tomorrow live, and we will do Threadbare Thursday and the last call after the show tomorrow.
There we go.
It is decided.
Love it when a plan comes together. You and I both had the Indianapolis Colts at 14 this week. They're still a team that's, right there they're on the cusp of the playoff talk. And yes, they're not completely out.
No,
but
you're throwing dirt on them way too quickly.
It's not that I'm throwing dirt on them. I'm just looking at this going, do I really want to lose my first-round draft pick for nothing?
But you can't tap out here.
Too early?
No.
Okay.
No. You can't.
Okay. At number 13, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers at 13. And you have the Pittsburgh Steelers at 13.
I do.
The projection for this team for the rest of the year? Meh.
Aboye said that video is going to be 2.5 hours tomorrow. You could very well be wrong.
Yeah.
You very well could be right, actually.
Yeah. Ben Roethlisberger is fine at this point. He's just a placeholder, basically. He's got hurt weapons. I mean, Najee Harris, he's going to break 1,000 yards. He's going to have a great rookie season. He's going to be in the talk for, he is squarely in the talk for Rookie of the Year and all of that. I just don't know how good this team can be. I think with those weapons, they should be higher than this. The problem is they're not. They're not.
They're not because Ben looks 814 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, you are what your quarterback says you are. If you judge this team without the quarterback, just the other 21 starting positions on the field, they're a top 6 team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, with Ben, they're a bottom 6 team in the NFL.
I have Detroit next as the Steelers. I feel pretty good about that game. I'm going they don't have a win, or they don't have a win this season. We should be able to control this game and win it. After that, you're going to struggle to win every game from that point on. You go Chargers, Bengals back-to-back on the road. Then Ravens on the road at Minnesota, Tennessee, at Kansas City, Cleveland, at Baltimore. That's terrible.
It's brutal, but they're going to win more games than you think.
Oh, I'm sure they will because it's Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin. He just finds a way.
Yeah.
This is what I told you before the
They'll
season.
Be a 9
You're throwing
and 8
dirt
team.
on them well before you should because you're doing that thing where you don't realize that everything in the NFL is not black and white.
Mm-hmm.
Teams that are inferior to other teams are going to win for a litany of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is experience at the quarterback. One of them is veteran head coach.
Yes.
And they have both of those. And so they win these games like Chicago that they shouldn't have won. Did they get an assist from the officials? Yeah. At the end of the day, the better team won it. I walked away from that going the better team won it.
Yeah.
And I think they will win 9 games, and Mike Tomlin probably gets them to 10. They will probably win a game that they shouldn't, get to 10 wins, and probably be the 7th team in the AFC playoffs.
Okay. I'm not going to be shocked at all to see that.
And that's the thing.
I'm also not going to be
quarterback and that coach.
Also, I don't think I would be shocked to see an injury happen to Ben and they finish like they did last year, where they lose 6 games in a row at the end of the season. And
I would be shocked to see that.
Now they're just out of it.
Yeah, here's the thing. Even with Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges, you know what they finished?
9-8.
There you go.
Yeah.
9-7.
Or 9-7, yeah.
Now, that was 2 years ago. Last year, they were, they won the division last year.
They did. But they still...
With Ben on his last limbs, it didn't matter.
And it fell apart at the end of the year.
It did.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you can't throw dirt on a team that has that level of coach and that kind of experience at quarterback.
Agreed. Currently, right now, they are the 6th best team, record-wise, in the NFL, or in the AFC. So, yeah, they're still solidly in the playoff talk and will be will be a playoff team barring any disastrous outcomes. At number 12, Minnesota Vikings. They're so good offensively. They just can't stop anybody. And they keep getting up in these games.
Well, losing to Neil Hunter was a death knell to them.
Yeah, but I mean, they had a sizable lead on the Baltimore Ravens and couldn't close out the game. See, this is the team that I look at and go, you are way better than your record is going to say you are. We know the defense is shit. But what are you going to finish out? You going to make it to 8 games? Are you going to make it to 8 wins?
Well, I put these two, this team and the next team, I put them right beside each other for one very carnal reason.
Mm-hmm.
I'm judging the talent of the team way more than I am judging the overall product.
Yeah.
Because I think with different coaches, the team at 12 and the team at 11 could both be way better than they are.
Mm-hmm.
But they have coach deficiencies. If you told me one coach got fired in the next 2 weeks, I would say it's Mike Zimmer. Because I think they're going to get housed in the next 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them's in the division. And that's going to hurt. I thought Mike Zimmer was going to get fired in the bye week, but that didn't happen.
No, it didn't. And you got the Chargers and the Packers. You got a couple of winnable games on here.
Rob Johnson said in the comments they've lost all 5 of their games by 1 score.
Yeah.
You're exactly right.
Yeah. And that's what bad teams do. I mean,
that's not a bad team thing. That's a team that doesn't know how to win. That's usually a poorly coached team.
Well, that's okay. I phrased that wrong because that's what I meant. This is what poorly led teams do. I mean, because they're not disciplined. You saw in the overtime with Baltimore, penalties killed them and allowed Baltimore to kick the game-winning field goal. You could be in these games as much as you want to with your stars on offense, with Dalvin Cook, and now that we haven't even. I mean, the Dalvin Cook thing that could throw this whole thing into chaos. But you got Alexander Madison there, who's filled in nicely. So even if something does come of that, you're going to be in every game.
By the way,
question is, can you win them?
By the way, anybody in a fantasy football league with me, I have Alexander Madison in every league. Stop sending me stupid trades. I've gotten 3 of those since we started this show. Stop sending me stupid Alexander Madison trades. I don't know what level of dum-dum you think I am, but I'm not.
What have you been offered?
One of them was Alexander Madison and Allen Robinson. I would give them up for Mike Davis and there's something else bad. I don't remember what the other one was. It was bad.
Yeah.
But Evan Doyle said in the comments the Bengals are too high. The defense has been exposed. The 3-and-out percentage is way too high, and Zach Taylor can't get his team ready for any first half of any game.
Yeah.
I.e., you will lose more games than you should. Here is the problem with that. Tell me what team you would actually have in front of Cincinnati. Minnesota, that's 3-5. Pittsburgh, who got the piss beat out of them by the Bengals. The Browns, because you won one game that I do not buy into at all. New England, who I get, as I said earlier, I get Joe Burrow, you get Mac Jones. The Indianapolis Colts are about the only one that I could even be convinced of, and they're doing the same thing you're doing.
I had the Cincinnati.
This is a product of the league more than it is Cincinnati.
I put Cincinnati at 11 on my power rankings as well, and I couldn't. I wanted to have them lower. Exactly. I wanted them to have low because what did I say? What did I say 2 weeks ago when everybody's going crazy? Oh, they're Super Bowl contenders. Okay, I'll go down that path with you because they're playing great right now. But this is fool's gold. This can turn at any moment. Well, and in the last 2 weeks, you can't tell me I'm wrong because they lost to the Jets, for God's sakes.
And I'm right there with Cincinnati, same place I am with Minnesota. You need a better coach.
Yeah.
And when you hire one of those, because secret time, those will be the 2 most alluring jobs on the open market in the NFL this year. Because they're both going to be open. We are full well aware of what's about to happen in Cincinnati and Minnesota. Because I don't think either one of them are going to make the playoffs.
You don't think Cincinnati's going to make the playoffs now? Huh.
I don't. Because the Zach Taylor thing it's too much. And I'll be honest with you, I'm saying that because I'm hopeful that they don't make the playoffs. Because if they make the playoffs, you can't fire Zach Taylor. You can't.
And he's going to be a Coach of the Year candidate.
And for your sake, I hope you do. I'm looking at the long-term health of the Bengals because this is a very talented team that has a fan base that, we talk about them a lot because we have a lot of people that watch this show that are Bengals fans. Mm-hmm. For your long-term franchise health, I hope you collapse. I hope you collapse and everybody realizes what I see in Zach Taylor, and then you just open that job up and go, who fucking wants it? Because you know what the answer is going to be? Every motherfucking body.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody. Every offensive mind in the NFL would want that job because it's very intriguing.
And you've got a real possibility here of just falling flat on your face.
And that's the thing. As time goes on, that schedule looks – the Bengals schedule is the greatest mirage I've ever seen in my life because it depends on how you're looking at it.
Oh, yeah, it keeps fluctuating.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps fluctuating. Like we thought, this is a tough schedule, and then they started winning, and we were like, oh, man, they're so much more powerful than all of these teams.
When they hadn't lost one of those turd bowl games, whether it was against the Jets or what they put up against the Browns, you just looked at it and went, they're good, and they're winning all those games, and then you watch them get out-coached twice.
Mm-hmm.
And now you look at it and go, okay, what are your coaching matches going forward? Well, this week you get Rich Bisaccia. Okay, you probably have an advantage there.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go Mike Tomlin, Brandon Staley, Kyle Shanahan, Vic Fangio.
Yeah, that wouldn't happen.
One of these things is not like the others. One of these things that doesn't belong.
Right.
And then you end the season with John Harbaugh, Andy Reid, and Kevin Stefanski. You will have the worst coach in every game you play for the rest of the year outside of the Broncos.
Yeah.
That's the problem. See, this is what I saw in the Bengals before the year. I wasn't just poking my fingers in my eyes going, I don't see the talent.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I believe in a gas station hot dog or knowing shit about the Clintons more than I trust Zach Taylor. Because I do not think he's a good coach in this league. And I didn't think he was a good coach when you hired him, and he's done nothing to change my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe so much in the talent that it's outweighing that. And that's the thing. Seth Lofton said it in the comments. People were saying Zach Taylor for Coach of the Year when his team was winning in spite of him. That's the point. That's why they're at 11 in the power rankings, because this team is that good. They won a lot of games in spite of him, in spite of the fact they have somebody that cannot manage a game to save his life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm saying if Aboye said Mike Brown's still not going to fire Taylor, I don't know if you collapse at this point that he would have a choice.
No.
You might riot on the front steps of the stadium.
Right.
So,
not when 2 weeks ago people were talking about you as a possible Super Bowl contender.
And just look at the schedule and be honest. At the Raiders, could they lose that game?
Absolutely.
Steelers.
Lose.
Chargers.
Lose. I'm not
49ers.
saying these are games that you can lose.
These are games you can lose, not games we're saying that you will.
49ers, you could.
At the Broncos.
You could.
Ravens.
You could.
Chiefs.
You could.
At the Browns.
Could.
You could literally lose every game on the rest of your schedule. I'm
They're
not saying you're going to.
Yeah. And you're not
but
gonna.
you could.
They're not gonna.
Poorly coached teams fall apart. Right. It is the way it goes.
Right.
Badly coached teams fall apart.
Because
when the stress and the strife come about, they don't know how to audible anything out.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to make the adjustment. And, I mean, if I'm a Bengals fan, I'll be really honest with you. If I'm a Bengals fan, I'm sitting here going, just lose, baby.
Yeah.
Just lose, because this is as attractive as a job will ever be.
Mm-hmm.
This job will never be more attractive than it is right now.
But if they go listless down the stretch,
my story,
then
and
does
I'm
that not
sticking to
become less of an attractive job?
Not to a smart coach.
Okay.
If it becomes less attractive because how Zach Taylor leads them to the end of the year, then okay, I didn't want you anyway.
Right.
But the high-end offensive minds in this league will go, I get one of the youngest quarterbacks in the NFL that is a superstar.
Yep.
I get the best young receiver in the NFL. I get a high-value young running back. I have other weapons that we don't even talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And the defense is very malleable.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
I like the future.
That's where I'm at with Cincinnati.
I like the future for the Cincinnati Bengals.
I do too.
But, I mean, like I said, these last two games have just kind of sucked all the wind out of that, that hype. But I still, at this point, we can't put you outside the top dozen in the NFL because the possibility is there. All of those games that we said there's a possibility you can lose, how many of them are no doubt losses?
None of them.
None of them.
There's literally not one.
They could beat any of them. Now, I would be supremely surprised if they win every game for the rest of the season and end up with only 4 wins or 4 losses on the year and end up being, the second seed or something in the AFC playoffs?
And here's the thing. Boye said in the comments that Marvin Lewis kept his job for 16 years in spite of the fact he collapsed in every first-round playoff game. First of all, one of those was against us. I would have been remiss if I didn't point that out. Second of all, that job was not that attractive for the longest time. You have a facilities deficiency. Mike Brown is a head case. And we all know that. The ownership group of that team is a head case. And you were tied to Andy Dalton, who we all knew what he was. This is a whole different scenario. Now you have a franchise quarterback who is from Ohio and wants to be there. You have a franchise-level playmaker in Jamar Chase. A slew of ancillary pieces in Joe Mixon, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Auden Tate, C.J. Uzomah. That's one of the best receiving corps in the NFL.
I need to ask this question, though, because I want Oboye to answer it, and I know we're on a delay here, but I just want to see it in the comments. Do you want Zach Taylor to stay around? Is that the point he's making?
No, what he's saying is that Mike Brown's not going to fire him no matter what happens.
Oh.
Somebody will get in his ear and say, I always said Marvin Lewis kept his job because he was the best coach that would take that job because it wasn't very alluring. I always said Marvin Lewis did a good job with that team. It was talented, but it was talented in all the places that didn't really matter. In terms of being a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
I would argue Marvin Lewis did more with less more often than he didn't. And a lot of people say, they stuck with Marvin Lewis forever. Yeah, because they didn't think they could do better. Because introspectively, they're looking at it going, okay, we fire him this year, we're the least attractive job in the NFL. Because they never had that young, hope, franchise quarterback, core nucleus of players. Now you do.
Yeah.
And you can get over all of the other deficiencies.
Yeah. I just saw Stephen Tow's comment here. They'll beat the Chiefs, unlike Tank. I'll have you know I'm winning Beat the Chief right now.
He didn't mean
Just
to.
so y'all know. I am up by 1 game now in the Beat the Chief. I've won 2 weeks in a row, so thank you very much.
You didn't mean to.
The Cincinnati Bengals, they're at 11, and you know what? You're hanging on there. You're hanging on to the 11 spot. Now we get into the top 10. Your number 10 team, Jeremy.
The Los Angeles Chargers.
Chargers.
That defense is so bad that I can't have them any higher. But the offense is prodigious. I mean, that is a good offense, which is saying a lot because they can't run a greasy peg up a cat's ass. And it doesn't matter because Justin Herbert is just that good. Mike Williams has been an afterthought the last 2 weeks. Offense is still good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do have to take the Patriots loss into account because you got hammered by a team that I don't believe that much in. But at the end of the day, who am I supposed to put you behind? Do I really think you would lose to any of those teams sitting behind you on a regular basis?
No.
The Chargers are the one team that I think could lose any week. They lose any week.
I still have them at 9.
And here's the thing. People will say, how do you have the Vegas Raiders ahead of him? Because the Vegas Raiders just put up the win that I've seen every team behind them have already. And theirs was West Coast coming east. And so there are a lot of buts with the Raiders. Plus, you had a corner that was threatening to kill people on Twitter, a receiver that had just gotten one of the most aggressive DUI hit-and-run car vehicle manslaughter, that's what I was trying to come up with, that I've ever seen. You had all of these things. So I'm holding that loss against you less than I'm holding these others. The Chargers got hammered by the Patriots.
Yeah, I have the Raiders behind them. I had the Raiders at 12 this week.
Yeah, and so that's your Raider hatred coming along.
I mean, they're still 12.
But you believe in the Giants more than I do.
I think the Bengals are better than the Raiders.
I don't know that I agree with that. I really don't. On a consistent basis, here's the thing. I know Zach Taylor's not a good coach. I don't know about Rich Bisaccia. This week, and I'm telling you, I had a bunch of those guys on DraftKings, so I watched a ton of that game.
Right.
It, to me, was it was death by 1,000 paper cuts. It looked like a team that had been distracted for 3 solid weeks. That's what I saw out of the Raiders. Now, you look at them this week and go, okay, could you correct all of those things and go in and beat the Kansas City Chiefs at home? By the way, your Bengals mantra there, we get to try that out in 2 weeks because they play next weekend.
In Vegas.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean,
I have a feeling that one's going to be on a torture ticket.
Oh, it's going to be fun.
By the way, we need to know what the next torture ticket is.
I think that's going to be a fun offensive game.
We need to know what the next torture ticket is. We're just going to keep saying this until somebody gives us a really good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Whiteside wants us to hit each other in the ding-dings with wiffle ball bats, which that's coming.
I don't like that.
It's going to be a week that I'm real confident that I'm right. Because I want to go Albert Pujols on the undercarriage.
Why? Why do you have to be so violent?
Because it's funny to me. Because it's funny to me.
I still think the more and more I think about it, maybe we should get Rogue involved. Maybe we should do something with Rogue.
Oh, I mean, we're going to do one of those.
I mean, you would have to fight Johnny. But I'm thinking maybe Johnny should throw his best girl at me.
Johnny should throw his best child at you, and that child would still whip your ass.
That's even better. Like a 14-year-old kid. Just beat the shit out of me.
I was thinking like an 8-year-old, but okay.
I could definitely beat an 8-year-old.
I don't think you can. I've been in that gym. You haven't. I don't know that you can.
Yeah. I don't think we want to see actual murders on the screen.
I want to see an 8-year-old kick you right in the face. That's what I want to see. I want to see an 8-year-old just Shawn Michaels sweet chin music you right in your fucking, right in your little floofy, wispy.
My pubis?
Yeah.
In my face pubis?
Right in that thing, Peter Griffin.
Yeah, no, me fighting Johnny would not be.
No, that's
not be
dead.
good.
That's just DED dead.
Right.
I at least have a size advantage.
I like that better. Throw your best teen at Tank.
Yeah, 100%.
But you have to fight Johnny.
100%.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be. It would just be him throwing me around because I wouldn't actually
be able to hit him.
No, I wouldn't try. That's not really how that works. You're talking about sparring?
Yeah.
First of all, you would never have somebody my. I mean, I'm 6'6", 300 pounds. Johnny's like 5.
Oh, I thought he was a big dude.
No, Johnny's a small guy.
Oh, okay.
But he's also the meanest small guy I've ever met in my life.
Right.
Like, literally, he would kick my ass. There's no doubt. But you risk too many things having somebody that big. If somebody with that much of a size advantage.
No, okay.
Now, would he still whip my ass? 100%. 147%. And he would probably break as many bones as he chose to.
Yeah, we should definitely do some kind of a challenge.
Kelvin Joyner asked, okay, now we have to ask, how many 8-year-olds would it take to beat Tank in a fight? I'm sticking with one. One very well-trained 8-year-old, I think, would beat him like a kettle drum. Nice. Now, you give me 2? Holy shit, I'll bet my ability to have fun for the rest of my life. Again, I've been in this gym. This is one of those times you should not put your foot in your mouth.
I'm not talking. I'm not saying a thing.
Yeah, but you have that coy little smile like you're about to.
I'm not going to say a thing. I mean, I'll keep smiling. Just keep on smiling. Anyhow, where are we at now? We're at number 9.
The Las Vegas Raiders.
The Las Vegas Raiders. Yeah, dude. I don't know. I just don't.
Your derision with the Raiders is comical to me.
And that's fine. I mean, you're
going to see them in primetime this week.
You had the highlight of your season. Your best wins of the season, to me, were the first 2 weeks of the year.
And I disagree with you.
The rest of the time,
I think they beat the Chiefs this week. It's in Vegas. It's in primetime. They play the Bengals the next week. I will reserve my judgment for that until next week. Then you go at the Cowboys. That's a loss. Washington, that's a win. You still play the Broncos. That's a win. At the Colts, that could be a win. And the Chargers close out the season. I would wager that Chargers-Raiders game last week of the season is for a playoff spot. Okay. I will bet you that game is a winner gets in.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4? That's four wins you're giving them?
At the Browns.
Oh,
I don't buy the Browns. I think they're markedly better than the Browns.
I don't.
And that's another team that I think could win one that you're not expecting them to.
No.
Whether it's at the Colts, at the Chiefs, I think they're way better than the Chiefs, too. So your derision on them is comical to me. God, we were going at such a good pace, and then we got into that meaty clacker tier and just...
The meaty clacker.
We got into the meaty clackers, and my God, that took forever. Number 8 is the Dallas Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to send you careening that far. I mean, yeah, last week was ugly.
Yeah, but last week was ugly for a lot of teams. And when you're one of the best teams in the NFL and you have all those weapons, there's not a whole lot of space for you to fall. I mean, if everybody else was as good as they are, as talented as they are, then yeah, you could have fell 5 spots. But I couldn't. I mean, the most I could knock you down was 2 spots. This is exactly where I have the Dallas Cowboys as well, and they're going to win a whole bunch of games.
Here's the thing that I think a lot of people are underselling.
Okay.
How good is that defense?
It's above average, I will say.
I can't even say that. I don't think it's good. I think it forces a lot of turnovers, which are very cyclical.
Mm-hmm.
That's my concern with the Cowboys. I don't know how good your defense is. I know you have a lot of good pieces.
Mm-hmm.
I also just watched the Denver Broncos beat you savagely, and that is a bad offense. Bad. And they beat you savagely on your home field.
Mm-hmm.
Can I chalk that one up to weren't prepared, overlooked, trap game, whatever you want to call it? Sure. But I also look at that schedule and go, that might not be the last one. That might not be the last one. They play the Falcons this week, and I got news for you. The Falcons are still holding the grudge from last year because there's a lot of carryovers on this team.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Ryan being one of them. And I'm looking at this going, I don't know how you're going to stop Kyle Pitts. I absolutely do not know how you're going to stop Kyle Pitts. And I don't really know how you're going to stop Cordero Patterson outside of Micah Parsons.
Right.
So,
but that offense against that defense,
I'm not disputing that. I mean, I'm just telling you.
Can it get shootouty? Sure. But this should be a game that they win 35-21.
Of all the weird losses last week, the Dallas Cowboys are the one that resonated with me the most.
Okay.
Where I went, what in the fuck was that? Because they were the team that hadn't done that.
Mm-hmm.
They had one loss. It was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the one that I'm looking at going, okay, I can't just sweep that under the rug like it didn't happen.
Right. I mean, they're still a Super Bowl contender for me.
And I don't dispute that. I just think we've overvalued how good that defense is.
Mm-hmm.
That defense is very talented. And that's all I can say for right now.
My 7 is the Tennessee Titans. Who you have at 7?
The Green Bay Packers.
Ooh. You knocked the Packers for losing without Aaron Rodgers.
Well, here's the thing. Jordan Love looked like he won a fan contest to play quarterback for the Green Bay Packers.
Yep.
I didn't see a lot to really be impressed with outside of not having Aaron Rodgers. Kind of makes you look at that team and go, what do you have outside of him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got Devontae Adams. I agree with you. The running game, it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they had a couple little chunk plays. But you take Aaron away, and now that doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
The defense is not great.
It's fine.
It's fine. You do a lot of that with the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
You do a lot of it's fine.
Right. But I still have 12. And as long as I have 12,
I understand that.
I can win every game.
And I understand that. Every team in front of them has a 12-2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying they're as good as Aaron Rodgers, but they're up there pretty damn high.
Yeah.
There is not one team in front of them that doesn't have a quarterback at that level.
Mm-hmm.
And they have other shit.
Mm-hmm.
And you beat me to it. That game shows issues with the way Matt LaFleur coaches. It does. Matt LaFleur has been covered a lot by Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at this going, Matt LaFleur could probably be blamed for a lot of their playoff deficiencies.
Mm-hmm.
He gets hammered for the one decision to kick a field goal instead of going for it. There's been a lot of other questionable calls, too.
There have been.
And I've hammered that for a long time, and it's not going to change. And seeing this offense without Aaron just tells you how many things he's doing at the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up, Aaron Rodgers is doing – if we knew how much of this offense actually ran through him, it'd probably blow our minds.
Yeah.
Because Jordan Love, what they put out there for Jordan Love was embarrassing. And now, granted, he's not good. The game plan was horrid.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I mean, this was another game where you should have run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You should
and
have.
They don't.
And they don't. And they just refuse to. It was the running backs in total had like 17 carries, which is dumb. When you don't have your quarterback, you gotta have a better game plan. I didn't do anything with the Green Bay Packers this week. I didn't drop them in my rankings. They stayed right where they were last week.
And I think you should have. I think that should tell you that, unless I'm going to put Aaron Rodgers in their place right there, you have to ding the team for the fact that they looked completely listless. And special teams-wise, they are a fucking travesty. They have the worst special teams unit I've ever seen. Had to ding them for that, too.
Yep.
Because that doesn't have shit to do with Aaron Rodgers.
All right, top 6.
At number 6, the Baltimore Ravens.
Baltimore Ravens, yes, indeed. Lamar Jackson.
That team is so good in some places. Most places.
And the more and more I think about MVP talk,
Lamar's going to fuck around and get into MVP talk.
Yeah, he's in it for me. I think
he's not for a lot of other people.
I think he's 2 for me right now.
He's up there pretty high for me. He's up there pretty high for me. The thing that scares me and will continue to scare me with the Baltimore Ravens is the reason that they're 6 instead of higher. Their defense is just flat out not good.
Yeah.
And you cannot keep playing this cardiac birds mantra.
You can't keep coming from 14 behind.
No, you cannot keep letting teams get out in front of you. Let teams look so much better than you in the first half and then come back.
Right.
Now, granted, why does that happen? Because John Harbaugh is a phenomenal head coach. And John Harbaugh's a lot. John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson are a lot of this ranking to me.
Yeah.
But I also like the weapons, and I think the defense can improve. Do I ever think it's going to be good? No, not really. But it could improve, be closer to the middle of the pack as opposed to the back of the pack. And then, they're a Super Bowl contender.
I still think they're going to be 11-2 by the time that Green Bay game rolls around in December. And then it gets a little rough to end the year, but at that point you're already 11-2.
They'll get caught. They'll get caught in one of those division games.
Maybe so.
I can't tell you which one, but they will. 3 division games in a row, 2 of them on the road. You're gonna get caught in one of those. If they don't, then they'll be number 1 by the end of it.
Yep.
Because it is hard to win 3 divisional games in a row in December.
Agreed.
Number 5, your Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Too low.
It's
too low.
It's not though. You say that till you're blue in the face.
Yeah.
You just don't do a lot of things particularly well. You do a lot of Tom things well. Your defense is not that good. Now, you're not going to be challenged. Your schedule is pathetic. But then you get in the playoffs and you tell me that you have to go up against Matt Stafford. Well, I've already seen him kick your shit in once. Kyler Murray, he would do the same thing. Just go down the AFC. Aaron Rodgers. You don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to pick that secondary apart? And at the end of the day, that has to count for something. You're picking nits at the top up here anyway because all these teams are Super Bowl contenders. The one difference between you and the 4 teams in front of you, I see a huge deficiency for you that I do not see with the other 4. Now, you also have Tom, so that props you up a little bit.
Props us up a lot. I was going to say, it props us up a lot. And you're able to do more things. Obviously the Antonio Brown news is not great that he's still in a walking boot. It's weird to me that you keep signing so many weird veteran players. Like you just brought in Darren Fells, you just added Brashad Perriman. That's weird to me. That's a very peculiar thing. Because this team seems very set. Well, you're just gathering weapons.
But why? Why would you do that?
Just in case you need them. Antonio Brown.
You don't bring in guys that expect to play if you don't think they're going to play. Because the way this was put out by the team says everything you need to know. They brought in Brashad Perriman. They brought in Darren Fells. They're signing both of them to the practice squad with the intention of elevating them to the active roster. Who gets pushed out? Who are you pushing out for Brashad Perriman? Unless
Jalen Darden.
And I don't think you should. Jalen Darden's the best kick returner
he's
have.
a punt returner. Yeah, okay.
Tyler Johnson's better than Brashad Perriman.
Maybe Brashad Perriman was just he was an insurance policy for Antonio Brown.
And that's what I'm saying.
If we have to put Antonio Brown on IR, we're gonna need somebody else. And you know what? Brashad Perriman's been there. He knows the offense. He can do this.
And that's what I'm saying.
He can fill in.
It's the mass unit that is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is starting to weigh on me. Look, Tom's a great Band-Aid. Tom had way more seasons where he ended up at home with his finger up his ass than he did in Super Bowl years.
Right.
We need to stop this. He's infallible. He wins the Super Bowl every year. He doesn't. It was still batting less than 300 in terms of how many years did he win a Super Bowl compared to how many did he play. Well, actually, he's at 333. It's a third.
He's still at almost 50% getting there, though.
And that's all well and good.
Right.
This is also the best the top half of the NFL has been in 25 years.
Sure.
So you have to pick nits, and I'm picking nits with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but you have more deficiencies than these other teams.
Yep. When did everything come together last year? After the bye week. Maybe it's going to happen again. Maybe not. Regardless, they're going to beat the hell out of most of the teams that they play for the rest of the season, and they're going to be at the top.
Bingo.
You're 4.
The Buffalo Bills.
Aha.
I'm not putting that much into this Jacksonville thing. I'm really not. At the end of the day, I still get Josh Allen and that defense and Stephon Diggs and Sean McDermott, and you're going to have to come into Buffalo and beat me. Stop with, New England's right on their coattails. No, they're not. Yeah, Buffalo's half a game up in the division. Would you like to hear who they get to play for the rest of the season? Stop me when you hear somebody that actually scares you. At the Jets, the Colts, at the Saints, the Patriots, at the Buccaneers, Panthers, at the Patriots, Falcons, Jets.
You got the Bucs.
There's one.
Yeah.
There's one. There's one game that you look at and don't go, Buffalo is way better than them. All right, so if you lose that game in Tampa Bay, which I think you will, and you lose one other game that you're not supposed to lose, you're still 12-5. You know who's not getting to 12-5? New England.
Yep.
I mean, the Bills
not even close.
The Bills got massacred on the offensive line, and the second string was bad. Josh Allen ate them alive. Rob Johnson and Havoc both said the Colts should scare them. It's in Buffalo. If it was in Indianapolis, I'd totally agree with you. By the way, that's the common theme of every game on that slate outside of the Saints and the Bucs. Every game that should scare them is in Buffalo. That is a hard place to play. Ask yourself this. If that Jacksonville-Buffalo game had been in Jacksonville or had been in Buffalo instead of in Jacksonville,
by 30.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the point. They have one of the best home fields in the NFL, and most of the games that should scare you are at home.
Yeah.
That's team still going to finish at 12-5 at worst.
They went in lazily to that game.
Agreed.
And
guess what?
You got caught.
I said 10-7 makes the playoffs. 12-5 may be the 1 seed in the AFC. That's how good the AFC is.
Right. It very well could be. Buffalo at number 4. I had them at 5. I got to ding you for 1 week. For 1 week with the Jacksonville Jaguars loss, it was that bad. Well, I had Tampa in front of them.
Of course you did.
Of course I did.
Of course you did.
And I've got the Rams in front of them. And I still have the Packers in front of them.
You shouldn't have the Packers in front of them. You shouldn't. That's just an error in judgment. To me, the 3 best teams in the NFL are pretty clear. I mean, are they for you?
Oh, yeah. They're clear for me. It's the Green Bay Packers, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it's the Arizona Cardinals.
Good.
Those are the 3 best teams in the NFL in Week 10.
You're wrong. It's the LA Rams, it's the Tennessee Titans, it's the Arizona Cardinals.
Come on.
Oh, you want me to tell you a fun, which I know who you're come-oning.
Yeah.
Armchair Commentary said Homer. Yeah, because he's talking to you, and I know it. The LA Rams. That's still a terrifying team. Oh, but what about at Tennessee? Yeah, Tennessee's right in front of them because Tennessee's pretty damn good. Could they be here for a week? Sure.
Yep.
Sure. Do I think they're going to? No. Because look at the schedule.
You think they're just going to keep on winning?
Look at who are they going to lose to? Saints this week.
Yeah,
Texans at the Patriots. Jaguars at the Steelers. 49ers. Dolphins. Texans. That's the rest of their schedule. If I give you one of those, they're 14-3.
Right.
And I got news for you. They're not losing more than 1 game because there's only 2 there that I can see them even possibly losing because they're all at home except for 2 of them. And the Texans at the end of the year, which you could play that on a fucking naval ship and I wouldn't care.
Yeah. For me, I wanted to see what this team was going to look like without Derrick Henry.
And guess what? They look just fine.
Yeah.
They look just fine.
They came out and they got LA on a bad night. And I still don't think they're better than LA though.
I don't either. That's why LA's still at 3. I think LA is the second. I think LA's the second best team in the NFC. The bad thing for them is that the best team in the NFC is in their division. So I still look at the Rams and go, you are terrifying. I think you are clearly better than the Packers. You are clearly better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And so you're in the top 3. To me, The Rams and the Cardinals are very locked into that top three. There's not much that's going to change that for me. The Cardinals improved it. The Rams improved it.
Yep.
Now, the Titans just did a great big, hey, look at me. And the schedule's pathetic. It's pathetic. If you get caught in one of those games, we'll revisit. Until they do, that top three for me is I'm not saying it's locked in because they're going to switch positions constantly.
Right.
I don't really know. And I'll be honest with you, I feel that way about the top four.
Who's the one that falls off that perch first, if you had to take a guess?
Tennessee. If I had to bet on one. But the problem is that I don't think they play anybody. And Rob Johnson said this. Could Henry be back for a deep playoff run? Yeah.
Yes, he can.
He could.
He can be back before the end of the season.
Especially if they're the one in the AFC. And he gets that extra week to get back and get acclimated. I don't think the bye week means as much to any team in this league as it does to the Tennessee Titans. So these games that they play against the Texans and the Patriots and the Saints this week, another game that I'm just drunk on the side.
The Tennessee New Orleans?
Yeah, set that line.
Tennessee -6.
By the way, it's in Tennessee.
Tennessee -6.
You're too high.
It's 3?
You're still too high. It's 2.5.
What?
Dumb!
Yeah.
It's dumb! Go to betus.com right now. Use promo code Sportsocracy and bet the shit out of the Tennessee Titans. Because that's one of the dumbest lines I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, but it's a letdown game. I don't care. I don't care. And also take the under because 45 is entirely too high.
Entirely too much. Okay.
I would have said that over-under should be at 41 with the intention of it landing at about 35. There's not going to be a lot of points scored in that game. For posterity's sake, last week was one of the worst scoring fantasy weeks in NFL history. This week might be worse.
Yep. And then you got the Arizona Cardinals, who won this past week despite the fact that they had no Kyler Murray and no DeAndre Hopkins.
And it didn't matter. They're just schematically better than you. Offensively, they are just schemed better than you. It didn't matter that Colt McCoy was starting. It didn't matter that Chase Edmonds was out. They still took a division rival on the road and just beat them like a kettle drum. So it is what it is. That's the best team in the NFL. I resisted it as long as I could because I didn't buy Cliff Kingsbury. At this point, Cliff Kingsbury and Sean McVay, pretty damn close.
Yep. And now they got Carolina Panthers, the Seahawks, the Bears coming up. I mean, that's going to make you 11-1. Yeah.
That's the next 3 games for them.
And then you
that's
get the
not just
Rams.
picking and choosing bad games.
Yeah.
That's the next 3.
And then you get the Rams. So loss. I'll give you a loss there. I mean, you've already beat them once. So
yeah, you split with them.
Yeah.
I could easily see you doing the weird backwards home split.
And then you go Lions, Colts, Cowboys, Seahawks. I mean,
there's 3 losses on that schedule at best.
Yeah.
They're the one in the NFC.
Could they be 14-3?
The NFC is going through Arizona. And the only thing that could stop it is an injury.
And please, dear God, don't let that happen.
No, because this team's fun,
and the Cardinals fans deserve it.
This team is fun.
I mean, of all the fan bases in the NFL that have been downtrodden for so long, the Cardinals need something good.
I agree. Ooh, this has run a long time.
Yeah, it has. Anyway, it's been fun chopping this up with you guys every week here in the Sportsocracy. Share it out with your friends. Join us in Vegas. Each and every share, when you tag us, is going to be an entry into the Sportsocracy in Vegas. We got to come up with a shtick for this.
By the way, Armchair Commentary shared us on Twitter in a retweet group, and it's been retweeted several times.
I'm your huckleberry.
Indeed.
I'm your huckleberry. I'm your huckleberry.
I need a new button. I don't know what it is. But that's look. The more people we have doing this, the more fun shit we can do.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the thing, is that the still the best way to do marketing. Facebook ads, you can just channel. You can take that money and set it on fire. The people see it, and then they don't watch it. So telling your friends, telling the people that you know that are into sports, hey, there's these 2 fat guys that they're really irreverent, and they don't talk about political bullshit. That's still the best way. That's still the best way to grow this show, and there'll be way more of us. And then we can do fun trips and fun shit. And then eventually we'll all just be on a boat.
Right.
Just flicking people off with smaller boats.
That'd be great.
Little small boat.
Easy there, Eli.
Oh, yeah.
You are in the Sportsocracy.
Yeah. We can do whatever we want to.
You can join us this afternoon, of course, at 3 o'clock. We'll be back here on YouTube. But
Should
also,
we do that? And I was just thinking of this. Should we do the still keep Threadbare Thursday and do the projection for the rest of the year on the afternoon show today? Wednesdays suck. It is hard to do content on a Wednesday.
It is decided.
It is decided. All right, so Threadbare Thursday will stay for tomorrow. We will do rest of the NFL season projections. We'll look into the crystal ball. I don't know why I did that. It was weird.
Yeah.
Stop
doing that.
It's even
Stop
worse.
doing that. It's making me crawl. It's making my skin crawl.
I'm looking myself right in the eyes. I do it too. It's weird.
Which is getting him excited. And
It's weird.
Freaking me out. Freaking me out. All right, so this afternoon, 3 o'clock, we will do the projections for the rest of the season. Threadbare Thursday tomorrow back here in the Wicked Weed studio. We appreciate everybody for sharing this out. We appreciate all of your contributions to it. Just we have to thank you over and over and over again for supporting our dream. We'll be back with you this afternoon. We'll see you then.